Hey guys, it's Brandon Gustafson. Welcome back to Assisted Living Investing. I hope you're really enjoying these videos. I hope it's giving you some value. Again, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my videos, especially the comment part. I want to make sure I'm giving you guys the content that is valuable to you and going to help you out. Today, we're going to talk about LoopNet. I'm going to talk a little bit about LoopNet. I talked about that in a previous video about how I started finding facilities and how I use that tool to go and do it. So this time, I'm going to be talking about LoopNet. Actually, my next video, I'm going to be talking about BizBuySell, which is another very similar type of website that allows you to get in there and find opportunities. LoopNet is just an awesome website. What it does is it basically is a place where brokers and agents can list commercial properties. They can put them out there so that people can find those listings and then reach out to the broker, get some information on the listing, about the facility, about the physical property. Sometimes they'll put financials out there even. But it kind of walks you through the process, and you can really get started at finding opportunities that might be interesting to you and help you kind of get started down the path of finding an opportunity that's going to work for you. On LoopNet, I'm going to do a tutorial for you here in just a minute, but in LoopNet, there are a lot of filters, so you can get really, really specific to what you want to look at. And so that's extremely helpful. And oftentimes the listing agent on there is going to have their contact information. There's going to be a portal or an email or a phone number, a way for you to reach out to that listing agent and get more information on the listing. So you're able to talk with them, have a conversation, start negotiating, start having a conversation about the facility that's for sale, getting more information about it so that if you're interested, you can start having a conversation ultimately with the seller and negotiating towards purchasing that facility if it's something that you're interested in. So some terms that I want to make sure that you're aware of when it comes to using LoopNet and using some of these other websites that are going to give you more information about commercial listings are a listing agent. So a listing agent is kind of like a real estate agent. Sometimes they're called an agent, sometimes they're called a broker, but it's the person that the seller has engaged to list their property, list their facility, list their real estate on LoopNet or any of these other websites. So basically that agent is the person that's been enlisted to sell the property. And so that's the person that you're probably going to end up having a lot of conversations with. So that's the listing agent. The next one is an NDA. It's which stands for a non-disclosure agreement. A non-disclosure agreement is very standard. I mentioned this in a previous video where I got a non-disclosure agreement. I had no idea what it was. I was just kind of freaking out. What's this legal paper? What do I do with it? What I found is it's very standard practice when it comes to commercial real estate, when it comes to buying a business like you're going to be doing with assisted living, because you're going to be getting their financials. You're going to be getting very sensitive information from the seller that's telling you their tax returns, their past financials. You're going to get contact information for staff. You're going to get a resident roster, so you're going to be able to know who their residents are and things like that. It's very confidential information. It's stuff that you need to know as a buyer. You need to know that information so that you can properly analyze a deal, but it is something that you need to keep confidential. There are legal ramifications if you share some of that sensitive information. So that's what the non-disclosure agreement is. Something that you sign. It's something that they as the seller sign, because if you are doing some underwriting and you're doing projections and things like that, and you want to have them look at it, or you're going to also have to give tax returns to some sellers because they want to verify that you're a good buyer and things like that. So you're giving them some sensitive information of your own in certain instances. So it also protects you. So it's just a way for you to share information openly, but also confidentially. So you can kind of keep things under wrap that way. And the last thing that you're going to see as we kind of go through this, and there's probably others, but the other big one is a lease. So a lease is basically commercial term for renting. So you're renting something. That's essentially what a lease is, and those lease terms can vary. It might be something that you're interested in doing rather than purchasing a facility. You could look at finding somebody that has a facility, but they're tired of operating it, tired of running it, and you can swoop in there and say, "Hey, I'd love to do that for you. Could I lease the building from you? You probably have to sign a non-disclosure for this, but what's your debt service? What are you paying the bank? What can I do to to make sure that I get you covered there, give you a little bit off the top, but then I just go in and I operate the facility. You as the buyer don't have to put as much money in, possibly none, and you can set it up that way. So that's another cool thing that you can look at, but lease is another term there that I think is really valuable to be aware of as we start really getting into the website. Here's a tutorial that I'm going to go through for LoopNet and how to get there. So you just go to loopnet.com. Just do this. So there's for sale, there's for lease, there's auctions, there's businesses for sale. We're just going to do for sale, and we're going to do enter a property type, and we're going to do healthcare. And right here, we're just going to do Utah. You can see it gives me city, state. I could, if I wanted to look at county, I could do a specific county, Utah County, Salt Lake County, but I could do the entire state. And you can see right here in those property types, there's just a list of them. But if I was really interested in something specific, I could type it in and find it that way. So we're going to look for healthcare. We're going to look in Utah. You can filter these down to however you want to look at it. And it's going to shift us over to the next view. You can see just like right up here at the top, like it's the entire state of Utah. These little red diamonds are different opportunities. So you can click on them right here, or you've got a list view right over here. So I'm going to look at this one right here. This one looks interesting to me. This is in St. George, Utah, which if you've never been there is a really nice place to go. It's got a lot of beautiful red rock and some great places like that. Right here you can see just in the quick list view of these lists some really high level information. So I can get the listing price, I can get how many square feet, when it was built, I can get a cap rate for some of these. I can really dig into them and find some good information. I've actually looked at this one in the past as well, and it looks like just a beautiful facility in Highland, Utah. We're going to focus on Rosecrest Manor Assisted Living in St. George, Utah. So you just click on that one right there. Really quick, I'm going to show you this. Like if I am interested in it right here, I could also hover over it and be like, oh yeah, that's the one right there. That's the one I want. I can click on it and it's going to bring it up here in the list view. So if I click on it there, it's going to go down into the list view so I can find that specific one. And then once I find the one that I want there, I click on it and it brings me the listing right here. So what I can see on the listing are sometimes they'll have pictures for you, sometimes they don't. But this one has some pictures. So I can go and scroll through those pictures. I can see what it looks like on the outside. I can see what it looks like on the inside. It looks like they found somebody to do some really nice photography for them at the facility. And so you can get a feel for what it looks like on the inside. Sometimes they'll have floor plans as you scroll through these pictures and things like that. But you can kind of get a feel for what it looks like, and you would be purchasing with the facility. And there you can see St. George has got this beautiful red rock in the background. It's going to come down here. You're going to get some investment highlights. So it's operating near full occupancy, which is great as somebody that's purchasing a facility. That's always good to see that it's operating at full capacity or near it. It's got commercial zoning and assisted living type 1 license in place. So there are going to be different types of licenses in the states that you're in. So that's something that you'll want to get familiar with in your specific state. Assisted living type 1 license in Utah is like the more basic type of a license. So it's people that are pretty autonomous. They can do a lot for themselves. They only need assistance with like 1 to 2 activities of daily living. And so they can do a lot of things by themselves. So that's the type of facility we're looking at here. And it has some room for growth, which to me looks like maybe it has, like how I read that is, maybe there's some potential to add on to the house or to make some adjustments to the house to give you extra beds, or maybe there's some extra property in the back that you could build something off of. So some room for growth. It's something you'd want to look into and figure out exactly what that means. The executive summary, I'm not going to read that for you, but you could go ahead and read it. But just like what sticks out to me, it looks like it's been open since 1990, has 12 rooms, 9 of which are that type 1 license, and then 3 of them are actually for independent living. So independent living is a step down from assisted living. It's people that they might need help. You're still going to be making meals for them and things like that, but they are they can do everything for themselves, basically. So this particular facility has 12 beds, 9 of them are assisted living, 3 are independent living. It also lets you have kind of that continuous care. So you can bring somebody in that is independent living that might be shifting to assisted living in the next 6 to 12 months. You bring them in, and then you can have them shift to one of those assisted living rooms and just kind of build a pipeline for residents in your facility, which is a cool thing to have. Popping down here, you can see some property facts. So their listing price is 1.5 million, and I'm going to tell you, like, just because they're listing it at 1.5 million doesn't mean that you have to buy it for that much. That's where negotiating comes in, and having conversations and digging into their financials and being able to decide, is this something that, is it worth 1.5 million, or is it worth 1.3 million, 1.25 million? You definitely don't want to lowball somebody with an offer, but just because it's a listing price does not mean that that's the price that you have to offer. So that's kind of where conversations come in, and where your negotiating skills can be used. This is a price per bed, which is a really good metric when you're looking at assisted living specifically. So how you do that, you just take the amount of rooms, so 12 rooms divided by 1.5 million. And that equals, they did the math here for you, but you could do that, $125,000 a bed, which is pretty good. It might be a little bit high, but it also kind of depends on the market that you're in. I haven't looked, I'm not super familiar with the St. George market and what the prices are there. So that might be spot on. It's a little bit higher than I've looked at beds, but it's a really good, quick, easy metric that you can use to analyze something. It's very similar if you're familiar with multifamily investing. You're doing like a price per door. This is a price per bed, and kind of lets you see really quick where a facility might lie. And then that also gives you a metric, and maybe one of your criteria is, I'm not going to pay over $100,000 per bed at my facility. So that means, in that case, you'd be having a conversation with them about offering 1.2 million. That's how you do the negotiating, and you set up your criteria and what that looks like. So this one's actually really well done. The listing agent here has a lot of awesome information. I've seen listings that are not as well put together as this one, but you've got investment or owner user. So that's kind of the type of people that they are interested in talking to. Has a cap rate. I'm not going to get into cap rates here, but 8.5 is a decent cap rate. Sell conditions. So business value is included in that sale. So that 1.5 is the real estate and the business and everything included in that business. So, you're getting the residents, you're getting all the furniture, fixtures, and equipment, the FF&E at the facility, all the beds, all the chairs, all of that kind of comes with it. Any lists that they have at the facility, you're kind of getting that information as well. So that's good and helpful. So it's telling us that this is a healthcare property, assisted living, that's the property subtype. How big that building is, so it's 4,300 square feet. It's got 12 beds, 2 stories. It was built in 73, and it's not in an opportunity zone. So if you're getting into commercial, you probably are familiar with what an opportunity zone is. I'm not super familiar with it, so I would suggest Googling it if you have a question on it. This one gives you a little bit of background on what St. George is like and what's there and what's at the address and how they've been operating, which is great. And then this gives you a little map of where it's at. See how you can zoom in, you can zoom out, so you can see what is in the area. If you're familiar with that specific geographic location, you can like zoom in and see the shopping centers or food or things like that. Gives you right here transportation. This is pretty close to the St. George Airport. It gives you some zoning information, which is good. And then the part that's really going to be valuable for you is right here on the right side, and this is very typical for LoopNet. It's got the listing agent's information. So Allen is the listing agent here, works with Realty Absolute. His address, if you were in St. George and wanted to pop over and check him out or talk to him, you could do that. What I use the most is actually this contact button. So if you click that, and then you just put in there, my name is Brandon Gustafson. Here's my email address. So if I go info@BeWell Assisted Living, I put in my phone number and populate that in there. If I have a membership already at LoopNet, it's going to be able to let me put that in there. And then some additional information about hey, I'm interested in this part right here, you can type in. So, hey, I'm interested in learning about this property. Can you share information with me? Nice. Do something like that. Put in you want to learn about the facility. Generally, there's kind of a character restriction on this, so I keep it pretty high level, something like that. I'll give them my phone number, but I'll give them a little bit of background on me. I own 2 assisted living facilities. I'm looking at increasing my portfolio. I'd love to learn more about this facility at 48 West, 700 South, Rosecrest. Kind of do that out there, and then you just go ahead and hit submit request. I'm not going to do it because I'm not. It looks like a cool opportunity, but I'm not in a position right now to pursue it. So that request, and then you'll get an email back to you saying, we submitted this, and then I've done this where I track people that I've reached out to. It is, I would say, unfortunately, not uncommon that a listing agent doesn't get back to you, which is frustrating as a buyer. But it happens. But now you have got, an email, you've got a way to contact them, you've got a phone number, you could reach out to people and you can kind of get that information. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. And, but yeah, that's kind of how LoopNet works. That's how you can find an opportunity, how you can look through things, and just a little bit of how you could potentially analyze a deal as well. So I hope that was useful. And, yeah. So I hope that was helpful. I hope being able to look through LoopNet and getting an understanding for what LoopNet looks like and how you can use it was helpful. Feel free to reach out to that broker that we were looking at there. I'm sure that they would be very open to having a conversation. I would encourage you to only do that if it's something that you are sincerely interested in. You don't want to waste brokers' time. Building relationships with brokers is extremely important. I'm going to get into that in a future video. So only do it if you're really interested in doing it. Only reach out to that person if you have sincere interest in wanting to move forward with a deal like that. But that's how you can reach out to them. And I think it's super helpful. It's super valuable to be able to know how to interact and how you can get out there and just start having conversations with brokers and listing agents. So I really hope that tutorial was helpful, that you're able to find something that helps you find a facility. Next time I'm going to be going over biz by sell. It's going to be very similar to what we looked at today with LoopNet, but a little bit of a different feel, some different filters and things like that. But I think it's going to be helpful in helping you find an opportunity that works for you and can start finding a deal and start negotiating and start having interactions with brokers. This is how you get started, and it's super exciting. Like this is the part I love. You get to get in there, you get to talk to people, start building relationships. It can be scary, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be. So make sure you comment, like, subscribe. Make sure you comment. Let me know if this works for you. Like, let me know if valuable videos to you, if you're learning something new. Comment, make sure you let me know what you want to see so that I can make more content that is specific to you and what your needs are as you're going through the process of investing in assisted living. Thanks for watching Assisted Living Investing, and I look forward to talking to you next time. Have a good one.